Whoops. Jordan Rains here with the IDP 411 podcast. Just want to tell you guys today about our sponsor of the show, expandtheboxscore.com. Expandtheboxscore.com has premium NFL and college football stats. They're adaptable, they're affordable, there's all kinds of great stuff on there from the NFL to college football. It's great for people that are in the Devy leagues looking to get that edge over their league mates. So go check out expandtheboxscore.com, proud sponsor of the show. And now, without further ado, on to the IDP 411. What's up, guys? Jordan Rains, IDP 411 with my man Jared Gray. I'm hosting today. That's why if you might get a rough version on the front end of this, it's a little, but work with me. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, we got a good show lined up here for you today. How you doing, Jared?
I'm great, man. Been working on this article for a couple of days just to make sure it got out good and, it was the right content that we really wanted to put out. And, we're about that good life. So,
yeah. Actually, we got a special show. We've actually been stringing together now that it's off season. We kind of have a little room to play. We don't just have to kind of grind over, start sits and, rankings. Last week we had Isaiah Simmons. We've been covering the combine the 2 weeks before that, which was awesome. And today we are going to do Jared's going to do his first mock draft of the season, the whole first round. Looks like he's got some cool trades in here. Looks like there's some IDP relevant guys in here, as well as, your big name offensive guys. And, I'm excited to go through this with them. Just real quick before we get to that, though, guys, make sure you follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Jared Gray, at 50 Shades of Drunk, and then Steve at The Dynasty Chef. He's here with us, too, producing in the background. Shout out to him. He made all these awesome graphics for us today, so he's definitely an invaluable member of the team. Make sure you're following him. And then I said
he's the brains, we're just the faces.
Yeah. So, yeah, I guess we'll go ahead and jump into this mock draft here with my guy Jared. So, I guess, real quick before we go into that, I saw this morning, I guess in the news, right before we went on, Josh Norman got picked up by the Buffalo Bills.
Yep. So, guaranteed $6 million. He said he just really enjoyed the system he was going against, and he had Tre'Davious White across from him. So he's playing to the business right now. So that's smart of him, to be honest with you.
Good decision there, across from Tre'Davious White with an offensive coordinator / head coach now who he's worked with before. So if he can go somewhere and finish out his career the not Darrelle Revis way, it would probably be there. So
yeah, he was so good before, so hopefully it works out for him.
Yep. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started here with Jared's draft. You want to give us any intro to the draft, or give us any stuff before we just pull it up? Or
my quickest intro is what I tell you is I think that the Ron Rivera combine issue when he was talking to Tua Tagovailoa, I think is the chess master in this whole aspect, and that's the whole mindset of this draft. So it's me having a little fun with it. And when everybody thinks he's going to take Chase Young, I think that he's going to do something else. And I think he's the chess master and using Tua as a pawn here. I think he actually really likes Dwayne Haskins because he actually was one of the guys talking about taking him last year. So I think that he purposely did this at the combine to make this get out the way it did, because now some teams got to make a decision if they want to go get him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to decide which team that is today.
All right. So I'm going to pull it up now, guys. Again, thanks, Steve, for these graphics. But it looks like we got the first 5 picks here. So I'll pull that up now. Jared,
so real quick, we'll show the picture.
There we go.
So this is the front main cover. Again, if you're following the video as well as the post, you'll see this on the actual article. So
yeah. If you guys have access to YouTube, on the YouTube, we have some graphics we're going to pull up. We'll walk through them all, but in Jared's article will be on expandtheboxscore.com. I think that goes live today, March 9th. So go check it out. So
this is your show. Go.
All right. First round, pick number 1. We got the Cincinnati Bengals taking Joe Burrow, quarterback, LSU. That's kind of a gimme. That's kind of a easy one. Let's just go straight to number 2, though. Number 2, Miami, trade Tua Tagovailoa, quarterback, Alabama. So things are
I think this is where it happens. I think this is where they have a lot of picks. They have some money picks. I think they do a little more stuff in the franchise going to get other veteran players to do this. And, they're hurting in some other positions, and they have 3 picks in the first round. They need a quarterback for the future, and I think that Tua Tagovailoa is the guy. I'm a little skeptical of him personally, and I haven't let that not known. I have trouble with him throwing to the right side. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think he's a very good, polished passer. I mean, he was the number 1 quarterback coming out of high school. He won the Elite 11 MVP. Comes in as a freshman, wins a championship after after the second half against Georgia. I think that's the biggest thing. And then moving straight into that, you've got the Detroit Lions, who most people think are going to take Jeff Okudah. That's because Miami isn't there, and everybody thinks Washington's going to take Chase Young. Mm-hmm. Well, that's where I think Detroit Lions are like, well, you can't leave the best player on the board. So, and it's a need for them. They need offensive linemen. They need a linebacker. They could very easily take, Simmons here, but I don't think they do that. They need an edge rusher, and Chase Young is a generation player. Oh, yeah. You cannot pass on him if he's available, especially with the need that they have. Yeah. And I think that they're going to take care of a linebacker situation anyway in the
later part of the draft.
Well, the later part of the draft, as well as, through free agency. So
I want to walk back up real quick to Miami. They have a bunch of picks this year, so they do have the firepower to move up and get Tua. I'm sure you remember last year the moniker was tanking for Tua. Yeah. This is a spot where they didn't even have to fully tank, and they could still maybe get him. So I really like that trade a lot. It makes sense.
Yeah, with 12 picks, I mean,
just get this one right. Exactly. Like you've got the firepower to do this. It's what you wanted overall, based on what we understand. And they need a quarterback. I mean, Rosen's not it, and Fitzmagic is awesome, but I mean, he can only be awesome for so much longer. And he's awesome in a sense of like he's awesome to watch play, not that he's going to take them, deep into the playoffs. So Tua is definitely a great move here. It makes sense. I love it. And then Detroit getting Chase Young, I like that too. I think that the Lions with Trey Flowers, he came over with Patricia, and he's a good pass rusher, but I think that whole line overall needs a superstar on it, and doesn't have that. And Chase Young would be that guy. So if they're
with him and Trey Flowers there, I think that would be huge for them.
You can manufacture a corner out of somewhere. I know.
Yeah, I take this as what would Bill Belichick do, and Bill Belichick would take Chase Young if he was available.
And we've talked about this before on the show. Corners. It seems like they'll get hot for a season or two, and then that's their whole career is a season or two. Like that one year they were really good. Like Marshawn Lattimore or Eli Apple. They're both Saints guys now, or Janoris Jenkins. Remember when Janoris Jenkins was like the greatest corner ever, like 2017? And now he's just everybody hates him. He's trash. Marshawn Lattimore, rookie, the only guy anyone want to talk
He's a very up and down guy. He was such a stud there for a little bit. Yeah. Had an off year. He came back, had a pretty decent year last year, but I'm with you overall.
Yeah, exactly. So it makes more sense to me to go for Chase Young. I think that you're going to get probably more consistently high-level seasons out of him than you would a corner, and I think corner play is in some ways a little more easy to replace. So I love that move. Let's go ahead and finish up these top 5 here. We got number 4, the New York Giants, taking Meckhi Becton, offensive line. Meckhi Becton. Oh, my gosh. Meckhi Becton. I'm a little dyslexic, so you'll have to forgive me. And then at number 5, the Washington Redskins, who moved back, are using the Miami pick here, and they're going to take Isaiah Simmons from Clemson, linebacker. So walk me through those 2 picks. And
okay, so the main thing I did here is a lot of people think with the Giants moving on from their stud linebacker over the last couple of years, and the guy that they got from the Rams, and we really thought that they could take Simmons here. I mean, especially after the combine that he had. Mm-hmm. But the thing is their 2 most valuable players are Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley. And to to protect them in your long term, I can go get a veteran linebacker, right? Linebackers stay in the league 10, 15 years, no problem, especially when guys like Joe Schobert are available, right? Kursky are available now.
They only want $10 million a year,
Yeah, I will hand this dude $10 million for the next 5 years.
The best linebackers are asking for $10 million a year, and just an okay corner just got $6 million a year.
Exactly. So I think I think Joe Schobert's gonna get like $13 million somewhere, and I very easily could be the Giants, to where you got to protect your offensive, your guy. And Meckhi Becton is a monster. He's like 6'5", 350 pounds, and he ran a 5.10 40, which is fast for as big as he is. But let's just put that out there. I think that's the consensus. You got to think about this. Meckhi Becton is a perfect land for them. They struggle on the offensive line, and they got to protect their two best players. And if you can get Saquon Barkley open in space, it's lights out. So that's the biggest move here for them. Even though they could take, like I said, Detroit and New York could both take Isaiah Simmons, who we both believe is the best athlete in this draft. And that's where I go to Washington. And I think that where Ron Rivera, he sat behind and watched Luke Kuechly be a monster among men for years and years. Isaiah Simmons is that dude. Okay, if you watch tape on this guy, he's always right in the face of a quarterback if he's playing linebacker. If he's a safety, he's, rows really well. He is the perfect coverage linebacker because he has great range. And if they want to bring him downhill on blitzing packages, he's the right guy for it. There's no way he makes it past the 5th pick. I just don't believe that.
I like it.
After watching the tape that I see it, I do, and I think that's why Washington is doing this, to where some people are kind of iffy on him, on what position he's going to play in the pros. I don't think there's any doubt he plays linebacker, and it's either middle or outside, to where they can either rush him or he can be the focus.
Yeah.
Washington has a good offensive line, so why go get Chase Young when you already have a good defensive line? Sorry.
Yeah.
And
Devin White,
a weak linebacker.
Devin White from Tampa, he was number 5 overall last year, and I don't think there's much of a doubt in anybody's mind that Isaiah Simmons is a better linebacker prospect than Devin White.
Well, I don't know. Devin White is the real deal, and I truly believe that. When I give somebody as high praise as I gave him last year, I compare him to my favorite player of all time in Derrick Brooks. And I truly believe Devin White can be that guy if he can stay healthy. I'm going to put that out there.
Nice.
And I think Isaiah Simmons is right there. So I think that's something I had to go with. I wanted to have a little fun with this draft without going crazy.
That's how the real draft is. I mean, we all have these ideas in our head, and I mean, we all watch it, and it gets hairy real quick. So
I think the 32nd pick, we'll talk about it when I get there, but I think it could change. I legit think it could change. Yeah. So,
all right, let's get to the next 5 here. We got the Los Angeles Chargers taking Justin Herbert. We have the Carolina Panthers taking Jeff Okudah, cornerback, Ohio State. Arizona Cardinals taking Tristan Wirfs, offensive line, Iowa. Number 9, the Jacksonville Jaguars taking Derrick Brown, defensive tackle from Auburn. And number 10, the Cleveland Browns taking Andrew Thomas, offensive tackle, Georgia. I like this one here.
A lot of guys could change here. I don't think Justin Herbert, and I'm going to go on record and say that I apologize for my disruption over Mariota and Justin Herbert. I went back watching a ton of tape. I'm weird like this. And I've been saying that, hey, there's no way that you're going to take Mariota or take Justin Herbert over Mariota. I said this like 3 weeks ago. After watching a ton of tape, Justin Herbert has a cannon, bro.
Yeah.
It's something Mariota doesn't. After really watching the tape, Mariota does not throw the ball. Even in college, he didn't sling it. He was accurate. And that's what made him intriguing in college coming out. Justin Herbert has a straight howitzer, bro. So he ain't passing Los Angeles, unless for some reason the Chargers decide that they like
Love.
Jameis Winston or Tom Brady or somebody more. I think that he's just as good as Phillip Rivers coming out of college. He's battle tested. He doesn't turn the ball over. If they can shore up that offensive line a little bit, it's over, bro, because they have the firepower. I mean, they just re-signed their running back in Eckler, who's been a YouTube sensation lately, or social media sensation, because he's been doing stupid stuff. So, again, I think Justin Herbert's the pick here. I don't think he gets past the Chargers. I can see a lot of quarterbacks taking it in the first round. Justin Herbert being number 3 in top 6. So, my next one, who do we have for the next one? I'll have to pull that up again.
Sorry, I think it was Okudah. Yep,
Carolina Jeff Okudah. This is where I feel like Jeff Okudah is one of the best cornerback prospects in the last 10 years coming out of college, right? Players were good, right? Marshawn Lattimore was good coming out of college. Everybody believes Jeff Okudah is that guy. He's one of the best cornerback prospects coming out of college, period. I think he's Carolina's next Josh Norman. So when Josh Norman was younger, Josh Norman was elite. Odell Beckham hated this guy. They had some battles, and I think that's something that we could see out of Jeff Okudah. I love his game tape. I like his swagger. He came at a guy at the combine who asked him, who basically looked like an idiot, a reporter, saying, hey, what can you do to clean up your stuff? He's like, why don't you look at the tape? He's like, I don't have any pass interferences. I don't have any holding penalties. I was like, that's not who I am. He's like, I don't have a penalty. Like, look at me. And that's pretty awesome. He's one of the best coverage corners, and I think you're going to see next year. And people are going to test him because, well, that's in a division where they toss the ball. So as a fantasy football player in IDP, I'm going to get me some Jeff Okudah. Let me just put that out there right now. So
yeah, I like that pick. A lot of people have him going 3 to the Lions, but I like the fact that he slips a little bit here, and the Panthers get a quality guy to help in a spot that they, you can always.
Like I said, I've been saying this for a long time. I think Corey Littleton is him or Devondre Campbell is bound to go to.
Yeah, nice. Well, we got Wirfs to Arizona, which is a good. They need offensive line help to help your boy Murray out. Derrick Brown to Jacksonville. That is IDP relevant. Talk to me about that. What do you think that's going to do to bolster that line?
Well, here's the thing: is we all think Jonathan Ngakoue is either going to be traded, right?
Yeah, or he's basically for sure.
He's out the door no matter what. Okay,
I don't think
he's either here for one last year.
Yeah,
they're going to franchise tag him and he's going to stay, or they're going to trade him. Which, hey, the guy wants out, but do we watch Washington Redskins be? With Trent Williams last year, they could have traded him for a first-round draft pick. I don't think they're going to get that this year.
Mm-hmm.
And even though he's seeking a trade, I just don't know. So
yeah, you got to play the market on stuff like that for sure.
I think Jonathan Ngakoue is right there. Calais Campbell's been injured with his back a little bit recently. Yannick has been one of the best pass rushers in all of football, and to replace that, you need a guy that can shore up that line. I think Josh Allen is the guy that's going to replace Jonathan Ngakoue, which means you got to have somebody that pressures in the middle, and that guy's going to be Derrick Brown. I mean, he's a sure tackler. If you see his tape, he's got an open field against a running back that's just dead in his face, and he bulldozed this guy.
Yeah.
So
he's got buckets and buckets of tackles for losses too. I mean, he's
a solid player, and I think that Derrick Brown is. And to be honest with you, to get Derrick Brown at number 9, there's no way Jacksonville's not taking him, especially what they need. And I think what they do later in the draft is, and I'll point that out. We'll see, because I think they take 2 guys deep in the draft.
Well, and then you got you did 2 things here that I liked. They aren't IDP relevant, but you gave both your boys from OU some solid offensive line guys. They both need it. So with Wirfs and then with Cleveland getting Andrew Thomas there.
Like I can see this change, especially with free agency.
They're smart picks. They're the right picks for those teams.
They're the correct pick. And this is where I think the GM of the Cardinals makes the decision like, hey, I know that you want Ceedee Lamb. I know what you want your guy. right? But we need to protect you.
We
right?
have a football team.
We took like a dozen, half a dozen receivers last year in the draft. Let's protect you this year.
Yeah.
So, and to do that, Wirfs had a great combine. He's that down home country boy that just got after it at Iowa. So he's the right pick. And then with Thomas, to be honest with you, Thomas is as good or better than any offensive line taken before him in this draft. A lot of people think that it's going to be somebody else, but I think Thomas is, and let's be real, Thomas is the right name for Cleveland anyway, right? If you're going to be an offensive lineman. And then I think that he's the face. I mean, Jake Fromm did not have a good year, but one thing he didn't have to worry about is being on his back because Andrew Thomas didn't let a guy get by him.
Yep.
And that's what I look is on the tape. But yeah, that's the first top 10, and I mean that's how we're going from here. So.
Yep. All right, let's dive into 11 through 15. What we got here?
This is where it gets crazy.
Jared's first round mock draft. Number 11, the New York Giant, or not Giants, the Jets. Here's another offensive lineman, Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle, Alabama. We got 12. We got the Las Vegas Raiders, LVR. That's been popping up on my stuff. That's weird. But Jeudy, wide receiver, Alabama. Number 13, Indianapolis Colts, taking Jordan Love, quarterback out of Utah. 14, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, with a pick they acquired from Chicago. Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle, South Carolina. It's a guy we like around here. And then number 15, we have Ceedee Lamb going to the Denver Broncos, wide receiver out of Oklahoma, Jared's favorite college school. So let's who do you want to highlight here? You want to highlight the offensive line, the Jets, or are you?
Well, I'll brush it real quick. I think that you're going to see a run of offensive linemen once the first one's taken.
Yeah,
I think you're going to see it real fast. I think Jedrick is going to take the same idea that the Browns are going to take, and the same idea that the Giants are going to take. We got to protect our asset, and let's be real, the franchise quarterback is the key to happiness, and if you think you have one, you're going to protect him. So I think that's what the Jets do. They protect their quarterback and, maybe even try to keep Le'Veon Bell longer. And to do that, you have a good offensive line. So I think that's where they're really hurting because they short up the defensive line and they have one of the best safeties, if not the best safety, in Jamal Adams. So I see them taking offensive linemen. Moving to the next player, the Raiders. I expect the Raiders to take a receiver here. They could take a linebacker here as well, but they're not trying to get Jerry Jeudy or Ceedee Lamb behind them. So it's going to either be Jerry Jeudy or Ceedee Lamb for the Raiders. I think they're going to take Jeudy. They feel they like the polished route running, in which they thought they had with Antonio Brown. So that's where I think they take that. The Colts need a franchise quarterback, and they need a guy that can lead them. Which I think they're might grab him free agency. I think they might grab Phillip Rivers, but they also need the next Patrick Mahomes, and that's a lot of high praise to give a player. But for some reason, Love keeps getting this praise that it's because he can sling it. I mean, he has a cannon, and he throws from different angles.
I've been hearing those comments as well. That you're right. That is some high praise, but it's interesting.
It is interesting. I mean, he threw for over 60% with, honestly, Utah State. They haven't had. They've been a running team for so long. For them to be a passing team and him doing what he's doing, you have to look at that. I look back at a long time ago when Matt Ryan went like 1-11 as a starter, his senior year in college with like 20 interceptions. Well, he became an MVP in the pros, so you have to look at that.
Yeah.
I think Jordan Love could be that guy for them eventually. I think he sits behind Phillip Rivers for a year or two, though. Kind of does what Patrick Mahomes did, but it's behind Alex Smith. Number 14, again, I think this is the right pick. I think this Javon Kinlaw, if you've seen the tape and you guys saw him at the Senior Bowl, savage. He's a monster of a man. I mean, this graphic just only shows half of it. I mean, they're holding this dude something fierce just to prey on that he doesn't get by. And I think that, especially with what could happen with Shaq Barrett, and then Ndamukong Suh, depending on what they do with those two guys, they're going to need some help. So with him and Vita Vea next to each other, I think could really help Vita Vea. And
total sidebar, but I think Vita Vea I think this could be his breakout season. I think playing with Ndamukong Suh has probably got him hyped. I think that playing next to Shaq Barrett, who had a Defensive Player of the Year caliber season, gets him hype. And I noticed towards the end of the year last year that he was kind of making more plays. He was making some noise, and he's been in the league like 2 seasons, and I hadn't really seen him make any noise. He just goes a couple of games I saw him do some stuff. So that was a total sidebar, but I think that if they put another dog by him like Kinlaw, I think that line, especially if they manage to keep JPP's got another year at least. And if Shaq Barrett's there, I think, I love that. I love that pick. Sorry, just wanted to put that in there real quick.
No, yeah, I don't see how he gets by. I think he's the right player for them. I think, they need offensive line help, cornerback help, defensive line help, and this is where I think they get it. Javon Kinlaw dropping this far to them is kind of a perfect situation. And, it's also something that I hit on in my article. So with the last pick in this group, we go with Ceedee Lamb, who, if you watch the combine, he probably has the best catch in the combine. Back corner fade, good route. Him and Jerry Jeudy are consensus number 1 and number 2. Whether you decide which one is which is up to you. His yards after catch are amazing. He completely embarrassed Texas for over 130 yards receiving, breaking tackles. He's such a good player. Oklahoma's going to miss this dude. He's been solid his sophomore, junior, and senior year. He was good as a freshman. He's missed 1 game due to injury, missed another game due to whatever reason in the Baylor game.
Yeah,
but I think that it's hard for them to pass, especially if they think that they have the quarterback in Drew Lock. He needs secondary help, and besides the one receiver that they have, putting Ceedee Lamb there helps the receiving core as well as the running back situation. So that's why I think he goes there.
I love that. Love that pick. I think that's a good marriage for that team. I think that's a good marriage for CD. I think that would be very helpful to Drew Lock. So love it. All right, I'm going to walk down the top 15 guys here as we roll up into the next second half of this draft real quick. But Jarod's mock draft again is going to be up on expandtheboxscore.com. Go give it a look, and while you're there, check out some of our stats, some of our other content. Andy's real good at. He's a pretty accurate ranker in baseball and football, so he's got some good stuff up there too. So let's walk through this again real quick. So we got 1, Burrow to the Bengals. 2, we got Tua to the Dolphins. We got Chase Young to the Detroit Lions at 3. 4 and 5, we have, let me get this right, Meckhi Becton. Meckhi Becton. Offensive line, Louisville going to the New York Giants. And then we have the Washington Redskins taking Isaiah Simmons to round out the top 5. Then 6, we have Justin Herbert to the Chargers. We have Jeff Okudah to the Carolina Panthers. Tristan Wirfs to the Arizona Cardinals. Derrick Brown to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Andrew Thomas to the Cleveland Browns. And then we have Jedrick Wills, offensive tackle, to the New York Jets. Los Angeles Raiders take Jerry Jeudy at 12. Jordan Love to the Colts at 13. Love that pick. 14, Tampa Bay Buccaneers take Javon Kinlaw, DT. Love that pick too. And then the Broncos finish out 15 with Ceedee Lamb at wide receiver. Love that pick as well. So let's go see what we got for 16 through 20 here. All right. At 16, Jarod has the Atlanta Falcons taking Clavon. I might mess this game up too.
Clavon
Chaisson. I'm so bad at that. Dallas Cowboys take Kristian Fulton, cornerback LSU. The Miami Dolphins take C.J. Henderson, a cornerback out of Florida. I've been hearing a lot of noise about him. I like that. Las Vegas Raiders from Chicago. They take Patrick Queen, linebacker LSU. I guess that's from the the Khalil Mack trade. And then 20, they take the Jacksonville Jaguars from the Rams. This is probably for the Ramsey trade. Take Xavier McKinney, safety from Alabama. We got some
so this is
stuff right here.
Yeah, this is our all IDP relevant right here. So in this aspect, Chaisson, a lot of people think he's is getting the love as the number 2 pass rusher behind Chase Young. If you've seen the tape recently and you watch the championship games and stuff, he's in everybody's face. So I think he's a surefire pick for them, especially what they're doing in free agency, letting some players go. He's cost effective for them. He seems to be getting there, and they've done so many pass rushers and defensive line guys lately. Like, we'll see what they decide. This could really hurt them in the long run if they don't.
They just need to hit on one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they need to. And the thing is I don't know how they're going to let Devondre Campbell test free agency, to be honest with you, because he's going to get paid. I just don't think they don't want to pay him $15 million, which he's going to get probably. The Dallas Cowboys, I'm not going to really hit on this because I want you guys to look at the article, but I think they're going to make the wrong decision with Byron Jones. And they're going to take Christian Fulton here. Don't get me wrong, Christian Fulton's a legit cornerback. And he's probably the number 2 corner coming out of LSU, even though because their rookie, the freshman from last year is so good. Miami, I think here is where we talk about going to the defensive side. This is their second of 3 picks, even though this is where the trade went. You'll see the trade later. But then taking Henderson, if you watch CJ Henderson tape, there's a big argument on who DBU is. And Ohio
State.
Florida and Ohio State, who are and LSU have all said, hey, we're DBU. Well, you can argue that for sure, especially even Alabama as well, if you look at a lot of the safeties and stuff they put in. But Henderson looks really good off the ball. He tackles very well in open space. He reminds me of a better version of Vernon Hargreaves, personally. I think he's a really good pick for them. I think he's the right pick in this aspect of the draft. Again, they need a quarterback, edge, offensive tackle, offensive line. I think that they get 1 or 2 of the offensive linemen from free agency. This is something where they can hold back some money. And I think that also the offensive line is definitely getting a little more deeper as we look in this draft. So they could surprise somebody and go offensive here. But I think CJ Henderson's the right guy. On for the next pick, I really like the Raiders taking a linebacker here. Patrick Queen seems to be like the guy people love. I think very possibly the Raiders could take 2 Oklahoma players in Ceedee Lamb and my guy, Kenneth Murray. Highly possible the Raiders could take both those guys, both Oklahoma players. But I also see John Gruden loves the SEC, so he takes 2 SEC guys, one in Jared Jeudy, one in Patrick Queen. I don't think either one's a big miss. Patrick Queen hits like a freaking freight train, runs a 4.5 flat 40. Both solid picks no matter what you do here. The Raiders need a face, and I think that's what they get in Jeudy. And I think that they get their stud linebacker here in Patrick Queen.
Yeah, that feels
the Jaguars. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying that definitely feels a huge team need for them. And Patrick Queen looks like he could definitely do that.
Whoever the Raiders take, I'm telling you, that's somebody that IDP players are definitely going to be about. So
definitely want to be abreast of that situation ahead of time because they proved last year. I mean that those defensive guys are on the field a good bit. So I'm really bummed that Jonathan Abrams didn't really get to go out there and put a lot of stuff up. But I mean, once if they take Queen, then they have Abrams, Colin Farrell, Mad Max. You're looking at a pretty solid.
They're young.
Change from 2 years ago.
Completely different team.
which is what.
And we'll see what they decide to do. But again, I think that they need to. That's why they take care of the receiver position, because they need a guy. And as much as I love Williams on one side, who's on the other side, right? At least this way, they got Renfro in the middle. They can put Jeudy on the other side. It becomes really dangerous.
It totally, yeah. The whole team makeup changes, and then you have to wonder about Carr. Like, is he going to stick around or not? I mean, if he leaves, that could almost be good for, even better for the team. Honestly, he's a good quarterback, but he's so middle of the pack to me. There's a lot of.
I think he needs some competition there, and I think that's highly possible. Tom Brady is spending money. They will give Tom Brady $60 million. Let's not get this twisted.
All right, and then you got here at 20, you got Jacksonville take in Xavier McKinney.
Again, I put this in my article on the reasons why they take Jacksonville. They let AJ Bouye go away. They let Jalen Ramsey go away. You got to get somebody to shore up the backside. They were with Harrison, everybody being injured last year so much. Xavier McKinney has been a really stable guy for Alabama, and that's something they need. So, again, they take two defensive players, and Derrick Brown and Xavier McKinney. I think it's smart for them. I think that they have a pretty good receiving core as it is. I think they need a tight end. They've got a good running back who very possibly Leonard Fournette could hold out. So we'll see. He better not hold out too long, because this running back class is retarded.
Yeah.
Right? So, and I mean that in a good thing.
Yeah, good way.
If you ever hear me say retarded, it is not a bad thing. I do not hold that as a negative ever. That is never a negative thing for me. This running back class can be legit, so watch out. Jacksonville, if Fournette decides to leave, they're going to get somebody later. I promise you.
They just spent a number 4 overall pick on him like 2 years ago. I don't know. It's going to be tough. So they need to just.
He wants money.
Be legit.
And let's be real, running backs are a dime a dozen.
Yep.
Just a real thing. Not many people are Adrian Peterson sticking around 10 years.
Right.
Not a thing.
Don't exist. Let's see what we got here going. This finishes out, like I said, this 16 through 20, guys. If you're on the YouTube, you can see these cool little graphics that Steve made us. But we're going to go ahead and jump to 21 through 25. So, and again, make sure you go check out the draft on Expand the Box Score. Jared's got, a lot more information than what he's just talking here in that draft. So some good nuggets there. So 21, we have the Philadelphia Eagles taking Justin Jefferson, wide receiver from LSU. 22, we have the Buffalo Bills taking Jalen Reagor, wide receiver TCU. 23, the New England Patriots take Josh Jones, offensive tackle Houston. 24, the New Orleans Saints take Laviska Shenault, wide receiver Colorado. And then 25, the Minnesota Vikings take Trevon Diggs, cornerback Alabama. Nice. Like that.
Yeah, so this is interesting. We're going, slide wide receivers here. Alshon Jeffrey continues to be hurt. Justin Jefferson's the answer. Buffalo Bills, I'm not going to put out why I put Jalen Reagor here, but I think you're going to like the article, so please go check it out. I do like this pick for them. The New England Patriots is the one thing that who knows, right? I mean, they need help.
They've signed
tight end.
Their first round pick the past couple of seasons too. So I don't, it's literally up in the air to me what's going to happen with that pick.
So I'll be honest with you. I can see, even though I have them taking Josh Jones from Houston, I can legit see them taking AJ Epensea. They could take Bradley Anae here, especially after watching the video. If you know Bill Belichick, he likes those grinding players, but he also might think he can get an A in the second round later. There's no way he gets to them in the second round. So I could see Bradley and I going to them with this pick. And I almost made that, but I also look at they need a guy to protect their quarterback. So
whoever that is.
And the one thing is the linemen are starting to dwindle quite a bit. We've taken a lot here. You've got to make a decision like, hey, am I willing to take an offensive lineman that could produce, or am I willing to take a chance on a guy later? I think that they decided to take an offensive lineman here. Here's where I think people might get steal of the draft. And you might say, well, why are they taking the New Orleans Saints taking another wide receiver? The thing is, they have Thomas, and Thomas is one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, but he's the only one they got right now. He doesn't have a complimentary guy. He doesn't have a guy that can do whatever. Laviska Shenault, who had a core muscle surgery right after the combine. The funny thing about this is he's had this injury all year long. He did the bench press at the combine. He worked out the combine with this injury. This dude is tough, a tough wide receiver who's got blazing speed. He ran with this, and they're like, man, his 40 time wasn't great. And then you find out he's had a core muscle injury for the latter half of the entire football season in college.
Mm-hmm.
So he's going to drop because he had this surgery. This kid is Anquan Boldin to a T. Good receiver, will go across the middle. He's tough. I mean, and that's what reminds me of Anquan Boldin. And you're going to get a guy who a lot of people, before you found out he was injured, was high on draft boards.
He was top.
Really high on draft. On a crappy team. Colorado's bust. And he showed out. So I'm telling you, I think the Saints get a legit steal in the 24th pick. And I don't know how you pass on him. I think other teams are going to pass on him because of the surgery. Nah, man, this is solid for them.
Yeah,
good complimentary to Thomas.
I agree. That was a great secondary piece for him, and they don't have that secondary piece. It's just been Alvin Kamara, and then last year it was a little bit of Jared Cook. So if they can get another receiver out there with some good hands that can run some good routes and can just like be a banger, that just helps everybody. So I love that.
Yep. For the last guy in this group, Minnesota Vikings take Trevon Diggs, who is Stephon Diggs' brother. Who knows what's going to happen with Stephon Diggs? Trevon Diggs seems like one of the best corners in the draft. There's a lot of debate on where he's going to be and who else is going to be there. And the TCU guy is moving up. Duggar is available. Depending on what they do, we all agree Duggar's the real deal. But I also think Duggar's going to be a lot more played in the box. So that's where I think they need an outside guy. They want to move on from Trey Waynes. I put this in the article. I truly believe that. As much as people love Trey Waynes in college, I'm not a huge Trey Waynes fan.
Yeah, it's just to me, kind of.
I think this is the pick for them. I think Trevon Diggs is the right guy. Alabama doing to the Vikings. It'll be interesting if they decide to keep the brother, and Stephon Diggs, who I don't know how you don't, but he sure seems like he's putting it out there. Like he took everything off Twitter that he was a Viking, basically.
He's a little rabble rouser too, though, these days.
Yeah, so it'll be interesting. A lot of people think he's the better player overall, like the better athlete. I mean, one went to a smaller college in, Stephon Diggs. I mean, it wasn't a real small college, like NC State or Maryland, one of those two.
Yeah, it was Maryland.
And then you got the other guy goes to Alabama. So I like Trevon Diggs. I think he's a solid pick for them.
Nice. All right, well, let's get to picks 26 through 30. So, wrong slide. My bad. All right, guys, 26 on Jarod's mock draft. We have the Washington Redskins via the trade with Miami, taking A.J. Epensea, edge out of Iowa. 27, we have the Seattle Seahawks taking A.J. Terrell, cornerback from Clemson. 28, Baltimore Ravens take Kenneth Murray, OU linebacker. Then we have the Tennessee Titans taking Henry Ruggs III, wide receiver out of Alabama, who was a really fun Twitter topic all last week. And number 30, the Green Bay Packers take Denzel Mims, wide receiver out of Baylor. I like this section of the draft. It's a very good offensive draft, is what I'm realizing more and more as I,
Yeah, it's deep. The wide receiver group is really, really deep. And I think that's what you're going to see here.
I've seen a lot of guys saying that they're expecting 4 or 5, maybe 6 wide receivers in the first round. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah, I think Andy had 7 in his original, which I think is a little much. But for me, this is where I think you're going to see the second part of the trade. The Washington Redskins, when they trade out of the number 2 pick, they get the number 5 and get the number 26 pick. it's been pretty consensus like, hey, we're going to take they're going to take Chase Young. And then this is where I say he's the chess master, and talk to Tua Tagovailoa during the combine like, hey, we're going to take you. Like, we need you. We need competition. We think you could be the guy. Ron Rivera is a genius if he pulls this off, because that's exactly what I think he's doing. And Miami's like, you know what? We got the money. You know, we have the draft capital to move forward. So let's do it. And then if you think that they need a little more help on, let's be real, you can't have enough pass rushers. Why not get the guy that, for a quarter of the price, that you think is still an elite pass rusher in AJ Epensea? He didn't have good combine, so he's going to drop. So you get him for a quarter of the price you get Chase Young for, and you get 2 starters. Yeah. Give me Simmons and AJ Epensea, and then go get you a wider, because this wide receiver class is deep. And I still think they're going to get another guy in the second round. So this is where they get AJ, and they shore up a really good defensive line group, a really good linebacker group at this point, especially if Foster comes back healthy. And they already got Cole Holcomb. You've got, Landon Collins behind you. This defense became elite. It was already good. It became elite through this draft if he can pull this off. And this is why I'm having a little fun with the draft.
I like it. I like it a lot. I think that's I mean, that, like you said, that's a chess game right there. That's going from just having a good defense to they leave the first round of this draft, and I mean, they have an elite defense, like you said, just like that. So that's I like that. I like that move a lot.
It could be fun for sure.
Yep. Then we had Seattle taking a corner, AJ Terrell. Guys, this is all in the article, so you can read up on that. But let's hit the Baltimore Ravens with Kenneth Murray here. Talk to me about why you.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think Seattle's going to trade out of this pick, even though I only put one trade in this entire mock, but they don't have enough picks. So I think they actually trade out of this pick to somebody who loves another player more than somebody else. So I can see Seattle leaving this one. Okay, so I'm just going to leave that there. Baltimore, let's be real. Baltimore loves Oklahoma players. And the fact that you think that – I personally think Kenneth Murray is the best linebacker in this draft besides Simmons, who Simmons is considered just an athlete overall, even though I think Simmons is the best player in the draft period. Baltimore loves Oklahoma players. Okay, last year on the roster, they had Tony Jefferson at safety before he got injured. Then they had 2 offensive linemen, Orlando Brown, who's been a complete stud for them, who's dropped to the 3rd round because he had a bad combine a couple years ago. We've referenced that. They got Brown as the wide receiver, and then they got Mark Andrews, their elite tight end. They obviously love Oklahoma players. They love the pedigree. Murray is considered the best linebacker to come out of Oklahoma in years. Everybody talks about how good of a leader he is. They showcased him, at the combine, doing a whole video plot on him. There's no way he drops farther than this. As much as I think you could see Green Bay move up in the Seattle situation, because hey, if he's there, I could totally see Green Bay moving up to grab him.
Ahead of the Ravens.
And put him right next to Curtis Bolton because they played together in college. You could see Green Bay move from 30 to 27 here.
Interesting.
But I don't think he gets past Baltimore. I truly don't. Nice. They need help there, and he is a stud. Henry Ruggs, fastest player to combine, 4.27 40. But the thing about him, he's one of the even though he's as fast as he is, he runs great routes, great receiver. Tennessee needs a guy to complement Brown.
Yeah. I'm not a draft scout or anything, but when I watch Ruggs play, I see him do things that I like seeing my receivers do. And he's fast. Like, that was the Tyreek Hill thing with just he's a fast guy, and that was like everybody just like loved repeating that for like 2 years. You don't hear that anymore.
Yeah.
I feel like that's what I think. I feel like that's going to be Ruggs' story arc or career arc. Is he's fast. We'll hear that he'll be fast next year. He'll just succeed by being fast. And in 3 years, we could be looking at a guy that's going, top 15 pick in your fantasy drafts because he's not just fast anymore. Like, he's got great hands. He can make contested catches. He can take a screen to the house, or he can catch it, a 60-yard bomb to the house. He can run good routes. I mean, I love that pick. I love the controversy about him. Again, I don't watch a lot of tape or anything, but when I do watch him, I see things and traits in him that I love to see. I see traits of Stephon Diggs, another one, a receiver we talked about. I love watching Stephon Diggs play. I see a little bit of that. I see a little bit of Tyreek Hill. But you also see some of that Julio, where he will be reaching behind his back and snatching stuff, and he will be,
he's got great ball skills.
Adam Thielen, another guy, like I just see little things in his game, and I'm like, that looks like something so and so should do, and just like to know that he's not even in the league yet, and he can do some of this stuff. Give him 2 years with a coach that loves him, and
I think he's climbing fast. I really
refining his craft. Whoever gets him at this point in the draft, he's probably gonna be. He could be the first receiver taken. He could be the 4th or 5th. I don't know. I think whoever takes him.
I honestly think he's going to be the 3rd, but behind Ceedee and Jeudy.
Yeah.
But who knows? You can see somebody move up a lot quicker than here and take him.
Exactly.
Again, you could see the Saints take him for sure.
Yep.
So if they're not sold on the across the middle guy and Shenault, so.
Yep. And at 30, you had Green Bay Packers taking Denzel Mims, another wide receiver that got a lot of attention last week. It seemed through the draft Twitter and all that. But
again, you guys saw him at the Senior Bowl. He's elite.
Yeah.
Okay.
He looked good.
He gets open. He gets in space. He's a big body guy. He's much bigger than people give. Once you see him in person, he's a pretty tall kid, and he ran a 4.3 40. All right, he ain't much slower than the guy taken before him. So, and he's a bigger guy. Mm-hmm. So you put him and Devontae Adams together, bro. Rodgers like, hey, I'm getting older. I need some help, and come on, dude. Alan Lazard, he ain't the guy. So you got Adams and Mims across from each other. Maybe I can move Lazard to the center, which I don't know if that's a thing, right? I love Mims going there. If they don't move up to get a linebacker, I think that they take Mims here at 30.
They're in a similar situation to the Saints, who they need that second wide receiver. They really do. If they want to get peak value out of their top guy and out of their quarterback, they need to give them more options, and they need to spread that ball around. So I like that.
For sure.
So let's finish out this draft, guys. We'll get the last 2 picks, and then we'll count down 15 through 32 again for you. And then we will get Steven here, and we'll close out the show. All right. So last 2 picks, the San Francisco 49ers at pick 31 take Grant Delpit, safety out of LSU. And at 32, the Kansas City Chiefs take a guy that we love on the show, Neville Gallimore, out of Oklahoma. I'm sorry, guys. Real quick before you explain that, I'm going to put the Neville Gallimore interview from the Senior Bowl on the end of this episode, guys. So it'll be at the end. We'll have the post-credits music, and then I'll put that at the very end if you're listening on the podcast. If it's on YouTube, that might go up separately. But it's 2, 3, 4 minutes, something like that. It's a good little interview. It's one of the better ones we got, so that'll be on there for you guys to listen to. So anyway, go ahead, Jarod. Tell us what you got for these.
Okay, so San Francisco could easily move out of this pick. They have 5 picks left in the draft. If Jordan Love drops past Indianapolis and somebody doesn't take him, I can see somebody moving up to the 31st pick because San Francisco knows they need more players and capital. They have 5 picks in the draft. I can see them moving back away from this. However, Grant Delpit, Jim Thorpe Award winner, solid player out of LSU. He was injured for a little bit, so he's kind of flying under the radar a little bit. He's a boss, and they need help. They're getting older on the backside. They've had some injuries. I expect Sherman. Sherman's getting old. He got burned a few times. Let's be real. Whatever they decide to do here, I've got no idea. But This
They
is
do
where I
need a
think Grant
safety.
Delpit goes.
I mean, like you
They
said,
do.
they for especially IDP people, I mean, we know pretty much all the good safeties in the league and what teams to go look for a safety. And at no point this last season was I looking at the San Francisco 49ers safeties seriously. I mean, they were like, if I needed a bye-week plug-in for like a DB 2 or 3, sure, I would look at Tarkus or whatever that guy, his last name is. But they need a stud back there for sure, and that would boost their team. I mean, you see a lot of these teams with good safeties. I mean, they make their difference making. It's a difference-making position, I believe.
100% agree with you.
Especially when you get a versatile one. So anyway, and then Gallimore, I like that pick, especially with the Chris Jones getting franchise tagged. You know, I don't like to talk about it, but there's a chance he gets traded. That's just the cold hard facts. And if that happens, Gallimore, one, to see him fall this late in the draft as a Kansas City Chiefs fan, I like that. And he would be great. I mean, he's got the makings of a guy that could replace Chris Jones. Honestly, he's not the same size. There's definitely a size difference. But as far as the disruption ability and getting behind the line of scrimmage, which is something that Chris Jones is really good at for a defensive tackle, is actually getting sacks.
And if they decide to keep Chris Jones and they put him next to him,
power to him. They did just draft Derek Nandi, I guess, as like a year or two ago. But, it just gives them options. And, especially when you have an elite guy on a franchise tag, who doesn't want more options? So
now and this is where I see Kansas City could move to, because where Kansas City got better and better and better as the year went on defensively. I think they need a stud linebacker. I think that they're going to need a running back. This is very easily one of those positions where J.K. Dobbins comes off the board, or the kid from Wisconsin,
Jonathan Taylor.
Which I'm telling you, these two players could easily go to the Kansas City Chiefs. But it's not a doubt. I mean, they won it with Williams, and Williams, honest to God, I think should have won the MVP in the Super Bowl. He had that good of a game. But somebody else who has seen this before everybody else just messing with him, buddy of ours, Brandon, he saw the last pick and he knows that they're looking at it like Mbuke from A&M. He's an A&M grad, so he's like, hey, why? Neville had a elite combine. He had one of the best combines of anybody. He had a great Senior Bowl. He's the guy that I see moving into the first round of all the guys that we've seen because of what he did in the last couple of weeks. So this is where I see them, where Neville hops into the combine. To see 3 Oklahoma Sooners jump in the combine, you always see offensive players going from Oklahoma. To see two defensive players could be big. The SEC reigns supreme by this combine. You have seen this. I definitely point this out in the article. The SEC remains supreme again. Again, I think a lot of trades are going to happen, even though I only put 1.
Yeah.
And maybe we'll get a 2.0, do another mock draft 2.0 before and we'll go from there.
Nice. All right. Well, guys, I'm going to walk you down real quick. This 16 through 32, we had Atlanta Falcons taking Chaisson. We had the Dallas Cowboys taking Kristen Fulton. Miami Dolphins take C.J. Henderson. Las Vegas Raiders take Patrick Queen. Jacksonville Jaguars take Xavier McKinney. The Philadelphia Eagles take Justin Jefferson. The Buffalo Bills take Jalen Reagor. The Patriots take Josh Jones. New Orleans Saints take Laviska Shenault. The 25, the Minnesota Vikings take Trevon Diggs. 26, the Redskins get Epensea in the trade that Jarod described, trading back there. 27, the Seahawks get A.J. Terrell. 28, the Baltimore Ravens take Kenneth Murray. 29, the Titans take Henry Ruggs III. 30, the Green Bay Packers take Denzel Mims. 31, the San Francisco 49ers take Grant Delpit, LSU safety. And then the Kansas City Chiefs get Neville Gallimore at 32. So we're going to bring Steve back in here and see what he's got for us, and then we'll close out the show. And again, guys, that Neville Gallimore interview will be on the end of this episode in the podcast form for sure. So check that out. What's up, Steve?
What's up, guys? I don't have anything to add except I ran a couple of polls this week, and I ran a poll Who was your number one draft pick this season, Simmons or Young? And Simmons won with 58% of the vote. And then I ran another poll. It was hold on one second.
He's all good. It's funny you mentioned that because I ran that same poll 2 weeks ago about Young and Simmons before the combine, and it was in the Chase Young favor.
It was Chase Young favor by a lot.
Yeah, by a good bit. And I remember thinking that I'm glad that you've done that. I'm going to run another one post too, just so I have mine side by side. But we already have from yours like proof that people's opinions change.
Definitely things are changing. I still feel like it's close because the availability of the D linemen and the edge rushers.
Yeah, it is going to be very team dependent. If you've got a couple of studs, I mean, if you took Nick Bosa last year and you got Josh Allen and you got Max Crosby, and you've also just got, I don't know who's another awesome, just
Corey Littleton.
I mean, you got some of these guys
in the linebacker.
Myles Garrett sitting on your IR, you're probably not just going to take Chase Young because you don't need Chase Young. So it is very team dependent on where you are in the draft. So that's
exactly.
There's a lot of context that goes into that, but I think, I like that. Anything else we want to tell the IDP Army guys? We appreciate you. I'll just say that right now. We appreciate the audience.
Okay, yeah, there was we know Simmons was the top linebacker, but as far as like Patrick Queen and Kenneth Murray, I ran a poll on that, and then I did another option, but with 65% of the vote, Kenneth Murray won that poll.
Nice.
What do you guys think? Kenneth Murray, Patrick Queen, where are you guys going there?
I'm not going to go away from this. Okay, stats don't lie. Kenneth Murray is savage.
He's a tackling
over 200 tackles. Kenneth Murray had more tackles in his junior year than Patrick Queen has his entire career at LSU.
Okay.
Facts. Mm-hmm. So for IDP, I'm with Jarod. I like.
Sorry, sophomore year, not a junior.
I like Kenneth Murray as well. But I guess we're going to close the show out again.
You got Patrick Queen going before Kenneth Murray.
Again, only reason I tell you that
this is IDP.
It's not having to do with that. It has to do with the coach loves the SEC.
Yeah.
But like I said, I even said in the article, you could see it flop.
Yep,
100%.
All right. Yep.
There we go. Well, guys, again, we appreciate the IDP Army listening. We've the show's growing. It's kind of crazy, but we appreciate you guys. We've been getting some really good we've been gaining a lot of followers, a lot of traction, a lot more people have been listening to the show, which is good. We've been upping our production quality and stuff for you guys, so we hope you appreciate that. And we're excited to keep covering the draft and get ready for the draft season for fantasy football, the rookie drafts and all that. So just keep listening, keep following us. We appreciate you. And we'll have some more goodness for you in a week or two. So,
hey guys, just so you know, my Navy retirement is Friday the 13th, so I won't be on next weekend. So, I'll probably be drunk all weekend. So,
if he survives the weekend,
all right,
Friday the 13th.
Jarod, you want to give us to close us out?
As always, we appreciate you and thank you for coming. But until next time, let's go.